is, what are these yellow things? We'll probably mention them briefly, but the purpose of the spinal column, of course, is movement and flexibility of the neck and the trunk and the low back, but also it houses, creates a bony, protection around the spinal cord. And the spinal cord runs down the center. It's behind the bodies, and it's within the arch, the pedicles, lamina, and all these components in the posterior aspect. And as you can see, the spinal cord is a kind of thick cord of nervous tissue that comes off of the brain and runs down to about this level, about L1, L2, L3, depending on the individual. It ends about here. And it's made up of neurons. I'm going to talk about neurons, so on and so forth. And its purpose is to transmit data from body parts to the brain, or from the brain to the body parts. It's like a superhighway. It's like the Long Island Expressway. Coming off of the spinal cord are the nerves that bring information to the body parts. And that's what you see, these yellow, they're called spinal nerves, because they come off of the spinal cord. They are the spinal nerves. And they are like the entrance ramps and the exit ramps off of the superhighway. Information from my fingers travels down my arm till it gets to certain spinal nerves and enters into the spinal cord on its way to the brain. And information from my brain telling me to move my fingers comes from the brain down the spinal cord and exits at the appropriate spinal nerves that take care of my arm and hand. Each and every spinal nerve takes care of a specific aspect of your body. Okay, this one takes care of different things than this one, and this one, and this one, and so on and so forth. So that all parts of the body are innervated, meaning connected to nervous tissue, innervated. All of these spinal nerves take care of different components. The ones on the right take care of stuff on the right. The ones on the left take care of stuff on the left. Makes sense. Notice they're paired. Right? You got a right and left pair. And the right and left pair take care of the same corresponding body parts, except the parts on the right, thumb and index finger, parts on the left, thumb and index finger, from a specific pair. So they're all paired. And they're named according to their location, similar to the way that the vertebrae were named. Right? We had 7 cervical vertebrae, okay, C1 through C7. We had 12 thoracic, T1 through T12. We had 5 lumbar, L1 through L5. We had the sacrum, made up of 5 fused segments, and the coccyx. The spinal nerves are named in the same way. There are 8 pairs of cervical spinal nerves. 8. There's only 7 cervical vertebrae, but there's 8 pairs of spinal nerves. There's 12 thoracic vertebrae, 12 thoracic pairs of spinal nerves. 5 lumbar vertebrae, 5 pairs of lumbar spinal nerves. There's a sacrum made up of 5 fused segments. There's 5 pairs of sacral nerves. You can kind of see the sacral nerves. They come out of those sacral foramen. And there's the coccyx, multiple segments. There's 1 coccygeal spinal nerve. Right, so we have 8, 12, 5, 5, and 1. That's the coccygeal. That's the sacral. That's the lumbar. That's the thoracic. And that's the cervical spinal nerves. 31 pairs altogether. And they're named based on their number, location, meaning the first cervical pair is called, spinal nerve C1, right and left. The second pair is spinal nerve C2, right and left. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Spinal nerve C8, right and left. And then once you hit 8, you start with thoracic, T1 through 12. Once you hit 12, lumbar, L1 through L5, sacrum, coccyx. Now, why is there 8 spinal nerves in the cervical, but only 7 vertebrae? Because all the rest match. 12 with 12, 5 with 5, 5 with 5, so on and so forth. Why is there 8 nerves, 7 vertebrae?
Starts on top.
Why?
Nothing.
Because the first pair starts above C1. It's between occiput, which sometimes I refer to it as CO, occiput, and that was a typo on the test, right? CO and C1. The first pair comes out between those two. If it would have come out between C1 and C2, then there would have been 7 nerves, 7 vertebrae. But because the first pair begins above, that's pair 1, and then pair 2 is below 1 and 2, pair 3, so on down to 8. 8's between 7 and T1. So that's why there's 8 of those. So these are your spinal nerves, your vertebral column. What's this red thing again? Runs through the transverse foramen of the cervical vertebrae. This is the vertebral artery. Supplies blood to the brain. Okay, so this will be on the test. No big deal with that. I took this one out